Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is, I've got the temporary title of Tree by the Field. I'll see if I can come up with something better, like, I don't know, Ochre by the Meadow, or I don't know. Titles are fun. I got to be in the right state of mind to do it. You can see now this is kind of a sister piece to the previous one that will be on the channel there, and that was called Twilight Through the Trees. The boards were prepped the same color, and very similar colors were used in their execution. I'd say Twilight Through the Trees had a bit more red in it. I totally avoid reds here. I stay all within a range of earth colors. But other than that, a very similar process. I'm drawing with burn umber, and burn umber is a big factor. I do go into, and now the other one, the burn umber was the darkest tone, and this one I actually go into black. So they're related, but they're not exactly twins. Yeah, more like brother and sister. The real challenge on this painting, and the reason I went after it was, in my reference, it is a very, very complicated, very detailed scene. Without a lot of clear patterning anywhere in it except for the trees. The one tree. And that one tree, as you can see, is looking pretty cool, and it's probably going to be strong enough to carry almost anything else I do in the painting and still give me an attractive painting. But it was still very much a challenge, and one of the biggest challenges, I would say, was how the foliage from the tree was coming into the sky, because in the reference there were just a bit of patches of sky showing through where I wanted more sky. I didn't want to close all that in because that would have made a bad painting. Yeah, so I think I ended up solving it pretty well. There were some stages where I think I could have just left it at a certain point. We'll see. You can see once I start coming in with the sky tone where I kind of, the board color coming through. It might have been interesting to leave that as maybe one of the lightest tones. But this is always the challenge with painting, sometimes. Heck, even Richard Schmid, the genius Richard Schmid, if you don't know him, look up his name. Was in some of his DVDs showing his painting sessions that I got many years back, was talking about how he overworks his stuff, and that guy is a brilliant painter. So we all do it, and there's overworking and there's extreme overworking. Now I didn't get anywhere near extreme overworking on this, but there were some spots that I could have left alone, and that of course you learn through experience. But even someone like Schmid, at the point when he was doing these DVDs, he probably had thousands and thousands of paintings under his belt, and yet still it's not an easy thing to do, painting, and which is one of the reasons why I'm pretty open with everything I do, because you could listen to every tip I've ever gave anybody on this channel, and you would still find that you struggled to do a painting. Yeah. Now this is my second recording of this. Apparently I didn't have the audio driver set to the correct device. That sucks. And of course I don't find out until the end, because I wasn't paying much attention. I'm just burbling on. And speaking of me burbling on, I had some complaints, and it's just the way the channel is. So yeah, we do our best here to try and satisfy as wide an audience as we can, but let's face it, this channel is really for people that are into painting at a pretty in-depth level. I'm not trying to appeal to the casual viewer or the casual person that wants to learn how yellow and red make orange, which by the way they do, but try and always pass along tips and insights, and there is some repetition there as well. Now, two reasons for the repetition. One is that yes, people do need to hear things more than once, but also I'm just kind of pedantic as far as my approach and my teaching. Definitely the principles that I think work, I will keep repeating them constantly. And I remember early on when I first started putting up live videos, somebody had commented like, wow, this is sounds like it's just your interior dialogue as you're painting, and he was absolutely right. It was and is. And speaking of live videos, there'll be a live version of this where I'm talking about a bit of my struggle, and it's a struggle I think I won on this painting, but I've lost plenty of times too. And that live video is under the members section. Now you can get there by clicking the join button and giving YouTube $6, $5.99, $5.99 a month, and I get half that, and the rest goes to the Megalithic Corporation, who is kind enough to make my videos accessible to a worldwide audience. So I'm certainly not complaining. I think they're awesome. I think you're awesome, Google, YouTube. Love you dearly. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, you can see, so my usual process, I will, there was another comment on the channel too, where they're saying, oh, you painted the trees first, and then the sky, but that wasn't actually accurate, and I wanted to address that, because this person said their teacher had said not to do that, and really what I had done was just a drawing of the trees, and then did the sky, but I will then come over and put trees on top. I will finish the trees over a sky that's done. That's almost always a good way to go, and the reason for that is it mimics the way that nature itself works. We know the sky is always behind the trees. It's behind everything, right? So it makes sense to paint that in first, but it also really makes sense to have a roadmap or a blueprint of your painting down, at least for me. Now, I have seen painters do all sorts of different things. Some people work with big abstract shapes and manage to pull a landscape out of that, or some people working with reference will still just work with large abstract color shapes and then start breaking them into smaller shapes, and that could be a very effective approach. My approach, and I think because I was a drawer, I was an illustrator, a professional illustrator for 13 years, is to do what I call a drawing, what also could be accurately termed an underpainting, before I get in and just lay in color. This for me, I can't really see abandoning that approach anytime soon, although I could certainly paint without doing that and make a good painting. Speaking of good old Richard Schmidt and his book Alla Prima, I think he covers the 9 different ways he might start a painting. That's definitely a good book to get. It's not cheap though, and I have his first edition. He did a second edition that was expanded, and I would have liked to have had it, but really didn't feel it was worth the cost, since I felt a lot of the information was already in the first one of Alla Prima. But if you're into painting, you want that book, I would say. He'll give you some keen insights. He's basically one of the smartest painters there is around. He really is. I think he's still alive. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. He's getting old though. That's what happens. So yeah, the challenge in this was, of course, getting a nice vignette from the foliage coming down from the tree into the sky. You see me kind of working on that. I think one of the things I did that really helped it was to put that diagonal lighter branch that you see over on from the middle of our right going up into the tree. That really kind of pulled it together, and I felt that was a good move. It might be a case too where when the painting's dry, I might put a dot or two of a few more leaves, or even things out a little bit. I didn't want to overdo it or overwork it, and because once you overwork a painting, it's very hard to get it back, even now I'm kind of coming with a few little bits of black and things there. It didn't hurt the painting, but it could have probably stopped at some point a little sooner, I'd say. That's always a challenge, and the only way really to get better at that is by doing a lot of paintings. And if you've been with me any time at all, you know my feelings on that score. Anyway, it looks like we're getting pretty close to the video. I had to do it twice. Hopefully you enjoyed the video today and you got some good tips and insight. If you did, please click like, please comment, consider joining the membership if you want to go a little more in depth in real time on what's happening with my painting sessions, and also visit my website, check out my store. Got a blog that's doing some pretty cool stuff there. You can get there through my website or one of the links below the video. Meanwhile, until I come back with another video, take good care and stay out of trouble.